Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. Nice to see lots of faces. So this is the annual parish meeting. It's not a parish council meeting, just so you know, but it's a meeting for all electors of the parish. The first thing on the agenda is apologies for absence, and I know that our Surrey County Councillor Matt Furness is unable to make it this evening, and I also believe that our Borough Councillor Sally Barker is unable to make it as well. So the second thing is for us to approve the minutes from the last annual parish meeting held on the 20th of May 2024. Is there anyone like to say anything about those? No? No? No. My hands are shaking. Sorry? Oh yeah. And just to let you know that I am recording the meeting tonight personally, just so we have a record of what is said. And if you can all turn your devices to silent, please, just so we're not interrupted. So third thing on the agenda is the Chairman's annual report, so I shall go into that. So this is the Chairman's report for the annual parish meeting for St Anne's for the year from May 2024 until today. So welcome everyone, thank you for coming. So the Council continued its work with stable membership of myself now as Chairman, Nicola Cullett Vice Chair, Ian Brown, Lynn Parrott and Andrew Jackson. Ian Brown stepped down as Chairman in March 2025, and I would like to thank Ian for his hard work and commitment as Chairman and his continued support as Councillor. Our part-time parish clerk, Leslie Rickson, resigned this year and finished in mid-May. I'd also like to thank Leslie on behalf of the Council for her service over the last 2 years. Mrs Tracy Preedith has taken over as locum clerk temporarily until we find a permanent replacement. We had 11 public meetings this year, alternating between the Sands Room and Seal Village Hall. All were open to the public and advertised on notice boards, in the Village News and on the Council's website. Councillor Matt Furness is the County Councillor and is the Guildford Borough Councillor for Pilgrims Ward, together with Councillor Sally Barker, who was Mayor for the period. Following boundary reorganisation, Jeremy Hunt is the MP for Godalming and Ash, which now includes Seal and Sands. Following the resignation of Mark Butterfield, Steve Hurren is carrying out our general maintenance throughout the parish, working at both recreation grounds and other public areas. Following a reorganisation in March, the Council has committed to ensure all Council business is conducted lawfully, fairly and transparently, and made a public statement to that effect. All agenda, minutes, reports, policies and procedures will be published on the Council website alongside other statutory information. The website continues to serve as a useful hub of information to help the public identify appropriate authorities and contact details for reporting problems and seeking assistance. The Council maintained representation on the following: the Remembrance Day Service, Surrey Association of Local Councils, which is SALC, the Seal Recreation Ground and Charity Trustees, the Community Liaison Group for the Runfold Suez sites, working groups for the restoration of Seal Lodge and Sandy Cross landfill sites, and Seal Village Hall Committee. Mrs Sue Newman continues to serve on the board of Smith Gift Trust. Finance. The Council's finances remain stable, however the precept for years 25-26 has risen to £25,500 to help cover increased costs. There has been no direct grant aid from Guildford Borough Council as this funding source was withdrawn last year. Surrey County Council donated £1,230 towards a new fence between the Bowls Club and the Sands Recreation Ground play area, and the Bowls Club contributed to the fence along with the council. Groundworks contributed £2,425 towards the neighbourhood plan consultant costs. However, not all of the amount was used within the year and the balance was returned. 25 plan applications were considered and good progress was made on the neighbourhood plan in 24. However, this is stalled due to time spent on other issues and the council reset. Ash United Youth Football Club continued to make use of our facilities at both recreation grounds, and the annual summer show was held at the Sands Recreation Ground. Grass cutting of both recreation grounds and play areas was managed by an outside contractor, and security measures for vehicle access were maintained. The council undertook tree removal at our land at Wood Lane, and both recreation grounds require additional maintenance to alleviate flooding on the pitch at Seal, and both play areas require equipment repairs or replacement. The council carried out work at the woodland at Sands Recreation Ground to take surface water off Littleworth Road. That was to help reduce flooding on Blighton Lane. So key local issues. The local initiative to purchase the Barleymow pub was successful and it reopened in late 2024 and appears to be well used. Flooding on the North Downs Way and Blighton Lane continues to be an issue, though landowners and Surrey County Council continue working on a solution to resolve it. Council land at Wood Lane was subject to a request from Hampton Estate to be handed back under the Critchell Down rules. Following consultation, the council decided that the rules were no longer applicable. Whilst dealing with this request, covenants on the land were identified that show that the land should be held as open space, amongst others, and the council have had a motion on the agenda to decide whether to keep or dispose of the land. A public consultation is due to gauge opinion. This will include informing residents of council responsibilities and potential ongoing costs if the land is retained, and receive suggestions on potential future uses versus potential income from its disposal. The Seal and Sands Royal British Legion branch requested that a name be added to Seal War Memorial commemorating a serviceman from World War I. The council agreed to the request. Subsequent to obtaining listed building consent to proceed with the installation of a newly engraved panel, again the British Legion branch advised that a serviceman's name from World War II is missing. The council is currently seeking listed building approval to add this name to the same panel. Littleworth Cross continues to cause concern due to the number of vehicle accidents. So just lastly, I would like to express my gratitude to all councillors, the Locum Clerk, Council and Borough Councillors, volunteers, including our footpath warden, litter pickers and speedwatch team, and the residents for their ongoing support and engagement. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have number 4 on the agenda, so presentations from local organisations. We have David Toop here from the Bowls Club, which is in the village. David, would you like to give a quick chat? Thank you.
Wasn't quite sure what to do, what to say. But my name's David Toop. I've lived in the Sands in Furze Hill actually for 32 years now. But today I'm representing the Seal and Sands Bowls Club, which, as the Chairman says, is just over the hedges there. I'm the men's captain and treasurer of the club, which I joined in 2011 on the recommendation of one of my neighbours. And like many of our members, it's now become an integral part of my life. The Bowls Club itself was formed nearly 100 years ago, in 1928. We've already started some preliminary planning for our centennial celebrations, so watch this space. Now, for those who don't know, the green is just behind the Legion, next to the recreation ground playground. Originally there were 3 alleys, and we call them rinks, but over the years we acquired a bit more land and we currently have 6 lanes or rinks, which means we can bowl both ways, which saves the wear and tear on the grass. The clubhouse has undergone several rebuilds over the years. Part of the current building actually started life as a classroom at Seal School. So that was some time ago, and it's obviously now beginning to show its age. Over the years, many well-known villagers have been members of the Bowls Club, which you may recognise from the various local history books that are floating around. We have the Dolly Hossack Cup, Sid Gobble Cup, a picture of him over there, and the Miles Triples, all people, well-known people from the village. Every year we contest what's known as the Mackenzie Cup, which was also donated in a local derby against Tom, our arch enemies. It's been contested every year since 1952, with the exception of 2020 with COVID hit. But we're hosting it this year in a few weeks' time. The club has a committee of 11 members who are responsible for the day-to-day running, and it's administered by a charitable trust which protects the club and its grounds from urban development. As an aside, I'm also one of the trustees. All maintenance and upkeep is undertaken by the membership. Where necessary, we do see some professional help. We like to think, and it's been confirmed by visiting clubs, that we have the prettiest ground and setting in the area. People like coming to us. We currently have about 60 members, our oldest being in their 90s and the youngest is 15. Many are residents of the villages, but we do recruit from further afield. We compete in several local leagues and play at least 40 friendlies with other local clubs in Farnham, Aldershot and Farnborough, and even as far as Godalming. Whilst, of course, our main activity is bowling, we do organise several social events from the club during the winter months. Last year's storm severely damaged the hedge between the club, as you've heard, and the recreation ground play area. We replaced this with much appreciated help from the parish and Surrey councils. We shall be planting climbers on the fence in due course to soften the look of it. It's a bit harsh at the moment. And in addition to our centennial celebrations, which we're planning, we're also in the early stages of looking into replacing the clubhouse. As part of that project, we are looking into ways we could offer some facilities to the wider community. And I'll be interested if any of you have any ideas of how that we might go about that. Obviously, we don't want to compete with the sounds room or anything else, but it might be useful facilities. We're always ready to welcome new members or anybody that just wants to try their hand at bowling. The details can be found on our website, which is sealandsandsbowlsclub.co.uk. Feel free to put your head around the door there and have a look and see. We have some members here, so I think they'll agree it's very pretty. And come and chat to me afterwards if you're interested in having a go at bowling. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, David. Is Stuart Carter here? No, Stuart Carter. Okay, Stuart is the chairman of Ash United Youth Football Club, and he did say that he was going to come along and give a presentation, but obviously not here. So on to item number 5, which is updates from the borough and county councillors, but as we know, they're not here. Sorry?
Can't get staff.
6. So now we move on for member of public to present and discuss and resolve upon any other matters related to Seal and Sands Parish. So just first up, I understand Rosemary Miller would like to say something in respect of the land, Parish Council owned land at Wood Lane. Yeah, so okay. Over to you, Rosemary.
Right. Well, I've written it down because I should forget things, and I'm not very good at doing this, so please bear with me, okay? 17 years ago, this parcel of land was given to the parish by Guildford Borough Council to the relief of local residents. It has several covenants attached to preserve its use as an open space for the community. It is of significant conservational importance to this parish, sitting as it does at the heart of Seal Conservation Village, area of outstanding natural beauty. We welcome the commitment of the Parish Council to consult on this. Our main concern is that should the Council decide to dispose of the land, it could pave the way for the adjacent field to be developed in some way. Whilst retaining it would not necessarily prevent such an application, it wouldn't aid its possibility either. As you're aware that the residents of Wood Lane and surrounding area are naturally concerned as to our knowledge, there have been 2 attempts to develop this land previously. I know that some residents who are unable to attend tonight have sent emails requesting that the land isn't sold. We're asking that any decision taken on the future of this piece of land shouldn't be done in haste, and only after all avenues are openly and transparently explored. After all, the land has stayed like this for 17 years. Maybe that's an option. We're suggesting that a village work party could be set up to explore all the possibilities and to share the workload, as especially as we've only got 5 of you, and you've got several committees and a big workload to go with the neighbourhood plan and everything else. This would allow for all options to be explored thoroughly and in a transparent way. The triangle is quite a reasonable size, and after giving it some thought, we came up with a proposal as to one way in which it could be used as an open space. I have a copy for the Council and any working party to look at. You just sent this copy to Jeremy Hunt, who has been recently involved in the successful securing of some land by the village of Wonersh to protect it as a wildlife area. He is supportive of our attempt to create an open space here on land that is already owned by the parish. Our proposal is to create a haven for wildlife, residents and visitors to enjoy, and to bring our community together by involving our children, preschool and family in its creation and maintenance. There would be a fence, hedge, line and a gate between the parish land and neighbouring field, allowing access along a mowed track through the triangle to the field. We'd like to provide a couple of benches, a safe litter bin which the locals are happy to empty on a regular basis, and to create a wildlife haven by planting native hedging plants, wildflowers and a few native trees. Just think how marvellous it could be and how very much it would benefit Seal and Sands to have an open space in the village that isn't a wreck for children, not a cemetery, but somewhere where you can buy a coffee and sit amongst nature. As well as the obvious other benefit of protecting the heart of the village, I'm sure it would benefit preschool too. They often walk the children along Wood Lane. We could set up a nature club, build and decorate bug hotels, bird boxes, and record the wildlife. A rare butterfly, the grizzled skipper, has been seen in our gardens recently. It is a species that likes wildflower meadows and chalk downland and has declined 43% since 1976 and is actually now quite rare. If the land is sold and potentially the adjacent field developed, this and other species could be harmed. To reduce the financial burden on the parish, a working party could investigate various grants, funding opportunities, and possibly raising money within the community, as was with the bit of land behind the village hall. The biggest and most obvious funding option is SUIS, which has a community fund. Parish councils and voluntary groups can apply for up to £50,000 for nature reserves and conservation. Wood Lane falls within its catchment area for the Farnham recycling plant, and the next window of applications close on September the 3rd, 2025, and then following on the 11th of February 2026. At the other end of the scale, we could apply for funding for a new hedgerow of up to £2,500 from the Tree Council Branching Out Fund. And a hedgerow, rather than a fence, would be good for birds, nesting, and more in keeping with what we would be trying to achieve. There is also the Downlands Trust, Surrey, who can fund up to £3,000 for promoting conservation, encouraging access to the countryside, and promoting the health and social benefits of becoming involved in a local conservation work group. There is the Matthew Good Foundation for community projects up to 5,000, and the National Lottery, and that's just to mention a few ways that we could fund this. I have a list with some more detail on with these funding options for consideration, which I'll give to you later. To reduce ongoing costs, the Wildlife Haven would be managed and created by a team of volunteers who report to the Parish Council. Keeping this land does not necessarily involve incurring costs, but what it does is ensure the safeguarding of the heart of the village for a real and valuable community purpose. We feel that the land should be shared for the benefit of all parishes and kept for that benefit too. Just because the best of this parcel of land has not been made of to date, it doesn't mean it shouldn't be treated as having no future benefit. Please give us the chance to create an exciting and meaningful project for all. Finally, I ask that if the decision is made to dispose of the land, that the residents in Seal are given the opportunity to purchase and conserve it as a space for nature and our village. Okay.
Thank you, Rosemary. Very
Those are
good.
the
Great
bits that I
detail.
said I would give you, so I think that's it. Yeah.
Does anybody else want to speak on the same matter?
Please, could you tell us which land we're talking about? Where is it?
So, as you drive into Wood Lane and you have Manor Fields on your left. Sorry?
Where is Wood Lane?
Wood Lane is in Seal.
Behind the tea room. Do you think where the tea room is?
Can you excuse me?
Just behind.
Oh, I've
Anna.
been
Sorry, I was just helping.
So, as you drive into Wood Lane, you have Manor Fields on your left, and that's the what was the council houses on that were built during the 1950s. Next door to number 1, I believe, there's a piece of land. So the major part of that land is owned by Hampton Estate. But the very first part, which is adjacent to number 1, there's a triangular portion of land, and that is the land in question. It's roughly about 0.2 of an acre. So it's a relatively small parcel, but it forms, currently it forms the access way that allows Hampton Estate to access the rest of their land in that area. Is that okay? Anybody else?
Can I just sort of, we've been living in Wood Lane for the last 40 years, and my son is very keen on butterfly moths and insects, and has been monitoring all the butterflies in the Wood Lane area, and this is why he's excited that this rare butterfly is now in our garden and in the neighbouring gardens. But having looked at the butterfly conservation, the butterfly population is a very good sign of showing up the health of the environment, and with creating spaces for the butterflies and large, we are actually able to enhance our environment. Nick our son has been monitoring for the last 40 years the decline, and when I looked it up, it's all over the country, but for instance Yorkshire in 2023 they did a butterfly count in a specific area, and they counted 13,000 butterflies, just over 13,000. The following year, because it had also been a bad winter, they've only counted 6,000 in the same area. So the climate change is a problem, and of course the reduction of environmental spaces adds to that. So I used to teach, and I get very excited at these prospects of showing our next or the following generation what they can do and what they can discover if we were going to have like a little junior club for wildlife conservation and get them involved. The problem with our community is now that we always have that all the children go to different schools and they don't really know each other or mix. And you need social events or clubs and societies in order for the children to get to know each other. And this, to me, would be a perfect opportunity to create a junior club, get them to monitor the butterflies or the birds or whatever, and also teach them to look after the environment. It's all the range. Wherever you go, people are looking out for preserving the neighbourhood and the environment. And what Woolwich has done is they raised a lot of money in order to create this. We've got this asset. It would be so easy, from my point of view, just to review it and make it an open space, as the government had said we should. So I would be very happy to help bringing the children together and starting a little club or something.
Okay, thank you.
What, you said that there's a commitment to consultation. What form is that going to take?
I think we said at the meeting...
Well, I think just so the village knows what it's going to be.
Sorry, I didn't realise you were asking on behalf of the village. It was, we are going to consult via the website, mainly where information will be held. So signage will be placed in Seal and Sands. There will be an article in the village news and also on the Parish Council WhatsApp messenger, but that will really be pointing towards the website so that you can gather more information and then be able to offer an opinion, and whether that's based on if you wish to, if we should look at keeping it or disposing it, or if we keep it, what can usefully be done with it, and how that can be maintained for the future.
So will there be, in terms of a consultation, will it just be what do you want to do with this land, or will there be options given? It's just so we know how we're supposed to respond.
I don't think there'll be any options initially, because this is a consultation where we're asking for suggestions.
And how will you then take that consultation in terms of what people want to do with the land? How will you then take that forward as a council?
We will discuss it at a parish council meeting.
But in terms of the village's views, so if they're say there's a percentage of the village that want to keep it and want to dispose of it, will that sort of be taken into account? How will you process that information?
We will process it as part of the motion that is already on the agenda. We will process it as part of that motion. So it will be discussed between the councillors at a parish council meeting.
So if there's an overwhelming view of the villages in one direction or the other, would it be the council would follow that or not go with it? I'm just interested.
I can't speak for the council. It is for the councillors to decide.
Yeah, I mean,
Ultimately.
our job is to represent the public, and so of course we listen to listen to Rosemary, we listen to what people say. So that is our job as councillors, to represent you. So we, of course, we take into consideration what you're saying. It's not based on our personal views, it's based on...
Thank you.
So, David, you've got his hand up.
Chair, what would be very helpful sooner rather than later is both to have a sort of proper understanding of what land is involved. I know where it is, and I know it's 0.2 of an acre, but actually being able to visualise it by seeing a scale plan might assist, because it might assist people formulate their views as to what could be done with the land, or rather what can't be done with the land, given the space constraints. To know what the current designation of the land is, I'm assuming it's designated agricultural land, and therefore there might, if people were proposing uses other than agricultural land, there may be issues about seeking, how to go about seeking a change of use. And also what current rights-of-way or easements lie over the land. You say it's the access to the Hampton land behind. And obviously if you've got a right-of-way which cuts straight across a very small plot of land, again that may be a fairly significant factor to take into account when people imagine that use can or cannot be made of the land in the future. So all of those things would be very helpful to see sooner rather than later, or to know sooner rather than later, before people's ideas get too far developed.
Well, I think the description of the land, plan, etc. will all form part of the information that is displayed on the website. I think that's the best way for us to describe. I think actually, if the whole parish understood the history, the reason why Parish Council now own that land, as you say, where it is, how big it is, its relationship to the rest of that part of the community, that will all be done, within the consultation. The easement, there is no current official easement on that land.
I'd be amazed if there's no easement by prescription.
Oh, me too, but we will discover that. We at our meeting, at our last Parish Council meeting, we did agree that the clerk will look into these things.
Yeah.
So this is part of the process. So we are looking at what we need to do to enable the parish to be able to use the land, and undoubtedly Hampton Estate to be able to access their land. The covenants have come to light recently, which show how it should be used. From my point of view, the fact that we have this land, it doesn't even have a fence between it and Hampton Estate. There's lots of things that are missing along this chain of ownership and transfer, and where we're at today, and why we are now having to look at this situation.
And also things like there's covenant that it's to be kept as open space, but the words open space I don't think have any set meaning.
No, they're quite meaningless. It's not designated as open space either currently.
Yeah, so the covenant may not, it may mean different things to different people.
I think it will.
Yeah.
Currently it's essentially private land. The council land is private land, and as it's not been designated open space, and quite rightly, we don't want the public going onto it, because it has been used for sheep farming for the last however long, and quite obviously it's not safe for public access to it. And the fact that it has a locked 5-bar gate currently means that you can't really access it very easily unless you have a key. So no, there are many things to look into about this, but that's what I hope that we'll be able to do during the consultation, and show people all of the history and where we're at with it. Yeah, Peter.
Can I say, as a representative of the summer show, we're always looking for good projects to put money into. And personally, I can't think of a nicer project than having a butterfly sanctuary. It just sounds cracking, so it sounds wonderful. So if the Wood Laners can bear that in mind, great.
Thank you. Yes.
How long will it be before you put all the stuff on the website?
Being realistic, I think probably another couple of weeks, I'm sure, 2 or 3 weeks. The Village News, I think the deadline for the Village News is it 12th? Yeah.
I should know.
Yeah, I'd hope to think that we can get an article into the Village News, but for the following month. But that really needs to be coupled with making sure that we can have all the information pulled together to display on the website.
And no decision will be made until the whole lot's on the website, and then the consultation can start.
Yes, I doubt that we will. The motion will stay on the agenda because it has to until it's resolved. But I don't believe we'll make any. We can't make any decision until after probably the end of July, I would think. So after we have a clear month of the Village News advert or article. So I don't see it being decided until then.
And it won't be the consultation will go on then. It starts at the end of July.
It could be even later than that, I would imagine.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, it depends how, you know, I can't make a decision.
Unless you've got all the information, you can't discuss it.
No, well, no, as I say, the information that we can give so that all the residents can look at the history and all of the details, that hopefully could be within 2 or 3 weeks on the website. But we will advertise it.
Jason, it would help me to know, because I'm not quite as confident as David about rights of prescription. Partly because rights of prescription, although it's a legal concept, are also quite heavily dependent on the facts, and I think it might be quite useful, because I see the point he makes, to know if anyone's claiming a right of prescription, and if so, upon what grounds.
But that could just be on part of the information.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's intended to be a constructive suggestion.
Thank you.
Do you think it might be a good idea to give, with your advertising, give a date for the deadline so that people know up to, for instance, the end of July to send in their ideas and ideas?
We will put a date on the end of the public consultation, but I think referring to when we make a decision, I think that will be decided by what happens with the consultation, what additional work we then want to do after that, and then at some point after that we will come to make a decision. Yeah.
So are you going to put that date on the Village News article? Because I'll make it in bold.
Yes.
And capitals.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just say that if, obviously with the consultation and the potential either cost or gain or whatever from the land, can you also include the fact that if we were to retain it, there could be possible funding for work that's not, you know, that you could apply for grants for this, so that people aren't just given the fact that it's going to cost us this, that's good, we could gain that much or whatever, but give the, you know, give the full picture basically is what I'm asking.
We can only, we can do that. We can only say as far as we can determine what the grants are at this point in time. We obviously have to consider legacy, as we do with anything that the council is involved with. So yes.
Just one final point, because we've got such a broad range of parishioners, just in terms of the consultation, that there's some way of responding if people aren't computer savvy. So it's not only through an internet or an email protocol, that if they want to write to the clerk, for example, in an old-fashioned pen ink fashion, that option's available as well, just in terms of inclusion.
It will be. Hence why we consider the Village News as being an important part of reaching out to those residents that aren't computer savvy as others. And I think I've already considered that if those parishioners that actually don't have access to the web, then somehow we will involve them with it. So yeah. So I just want to ask actually if any councillors want to speak on this topic before we move on.
Covered everything and answered the questions, so didn't think of anything else.
No, only to say that I think it'd be really interesting for the consultation. There's obviously a lot of interest in what happens, and you know, your sentiments of the ideas are brilliant. The potential funding. It'd be really interesting to see what the feedback is from all the people in the area, both from Sands and Seal, and that will give us a rich amount of content to be able to review and make a decent decision on, backed on real community kind of opinion. So it's great to see so much interest and passion behind the subject. It's been like a Taylor Swift concert of people at Parish Council. So what can we say? It's all good.
Okay. Yeah. Just before we move on, anybody else on that topic? No? Okay. So the other topic that we were asked to put on the agenda tonight is Littleworth Cross Junction. And I would imagine most of us are aware the spate of accidents that have happened there recently. And it obviously continues to be a problem for some drivers. So, David, did you have anything to say on that matter?
Not a huge amount more than's already been said. In other places, it's a junction which has long been known as being dangerous. The Lion Taylors, who used to live there until 2018, used to have an accident plaque by their front door, with some paper to take out. And I think Anna and Simon, since they moved in 2018, have done much to save, even to the point that Simon's been stealing the stationery from my set of chambers.
I was given it.
And to replenish his dwindling supplies. And probably all of us know somebody who's had an accident at Crossroads. As you know, Bolly, our eldest, had a bad smash in 2019. He was very lucky to walk away from it. And signage was improved eventually. But it's apparent now that the signage is not adequate as it presently stands to keep the junction safe. There are issues, there seem to be clusters of accidents in the early summer, which may indicate that there's a lighting problem. There are particular lighting conditions that are conducive to people not seeing the signs. The council promised, or Matt Furness promised back in 2019, that the council would keep all the foliage cut back.
That's not happening.
It's not happening. It never happens. It's one of those worthless promises. Because then they say, no, it's the nesting season, so you can't cut pictures all the other lot. And even after the last spate of accidents, up to 2 weeks ago, they sent people out last week to cut back foliage, and I've driven down there in the last few days, and it is still really bad. The signs are very difficult to spot, even if you know to look for them. Because they are largely obscured by foliage, and it's gorse growing out of the verges, it's trees coming down with branches across in front of the signs. And I don't know where they've been cutting, but they've done a pretty poor job at trying to improve the visibility of the signage.
That's why the road's closed.
I don't know. But they...
There's also signage coming down Littleworth Road.
No, I mean, it's very, very poor visibility
Because
on all approaches.
I come from, go to Elstead quite a lot, and quite honestly, coming out of the Elstead Seal Lane into Littleworth Road, if you don't go halfway across, you cannot see if anything's coming. It's hopeless.
Yeah. I think the harder junction is coming from Seal. Is then being able to see to your right to see whether it's clear from traffic coming down the road. That's a very difficult sideline. We did suggest to Matt in 2019 that he put in stop signs. The Highways Department came out with a load of tosh about you can't have stop signs unless it's onto a B road or an A road, because they're completely misunderstood the relevant regulations. It may be necessary to revisit that, but ultimately, if people aren't looking at signs, they're not looking at signs. So it may be that something needs to be done which is more fundamental in order to make the junction safe. But the biggest concern I've got is that one of these days someone's likely to get out, a cyclist will be coming down that hill when somebody shoots across the junction at 30 miles an hour, which is the speed that the lady who crashed into Ollie was doing. And if that happens to a cyclist, it's good night.
No, I think we all have the same sentiments there, but it's just so the public are aware. Parish Council has no jurisdiction or over highways issues. We can only petition the County Council, the Highways Authority, on behalf of residents to ask them to reconsider looking at it again. But I'm afraid we don't have any higher authority really. But it's certainly something that I think we can discuss at the council. But and I'm sure then we can decide to write to Highways and also write to Matt Furness, because he is the member for Cabinet for Highways, isn't he?
He is.
But yeah.
I used to say that the squeakiest wheel gets the most oil.
Correct.
So if you just carry on, if everyone can carry on making pests themselves to Matt Furness and to Jeremy Hunt.
I think that's it. Individuals in this case will help, as in don't rely on the Parish Council or a particular group to take this forward. Everybody here needs to be reporting it to Surrey County Council's website, because that gets it into their system. And I would suggest as well emailing Matt Furness. His details are on our website, and telling him what you think of the situation, because quite clearly something needs to change. Yes.
It can't be a coincidence that so many accidents happen on that crossroads, even though people have said drivers aren't looking. But if that was the case, there would be accidents at every crossroads. So there has to be something much more fundamental at this crossroads. Why are they happening there rather than anywhere else? It worries me that the signs from Elstead or Seal say give way, because there's no way that you can safely turn left or right at that crossroads without stopping. So give way to me does not feel enough, although I have noticed that tends to be what they put at a lot of crossroads, which obviously isn't working in this particular one. But also people have said, it was commented on the WhatsApp group, that someone was a passenger and they knew the crossroads, but they had to stop the driver, and this had happened to them a couple of times, I can't remember who said it, that they had to shout at the driver to stop, because the driver, a responsible person presumably, had not noticed that there was a crossroads there. So there has to be something put. Okay, the give way sign is there, although that, in my opinion that should be stop, but there has to be some more signage further back to warn people that there is a crossroads coming up, and that's what's missing. Foliage as well probably, but most importantly I think is signage earlier, maybe 20 written on the, painted onto the road or something, to warn people to slow down, because they do not slow down. I mean, I feel I take my life in my hands every time I cross on Littleworth Road going one way or the other.
I assume someone will be coming out at me.
Yeah, and it is really dangerous. And so, and turning, if you're coming from Seal to turn right into Littleworth Road, you really, and that's why there have been accidents and people were driving into Judith's fence rather. And so to me it's signage much further back coming from either of those directions, and possibly a slow on Littleworth Road as well from both directions.
Again, that's the problem, is we need Matt Furness or an engineer from Surrey.
They both replied saying we're looking into it.
Yeah.
I urge everybody to write to both of them.
I don't think anyone has the clear answer of how it can be addressed completely. I'm sure. The problem is it will undoubtedly cost Surrey money, and that's what.
But it's better than costing a life.
Well, I know, but as I think we'd agree, what we've witnessed ourselves with borough councils and county councils is they tend to be reactive now. You know, look at potholes. If you want to take it to the level of potholes, the county council will not come along and fill a pothole in until somebody has told them about it. So to me, that's reactive. So that's the kind of situation we're in with them.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I just say, I know it's all been on the village WhatsApp group, and I don't want to go over that, but I've been reporting in, you can do it through the Surrey County Council, you've got a concern about the junction, and I reported in about the foliage on the junction, and within a day I was pleased to see a man out there strimming, and he just trimmed the bracken out 10 yards either side of the junction. I then got an email saying cutting back the gorse, which I think we all think is the problem if you're approaching from Seal and then looking right. The reason you can't see is that block of gorse that comes out that stops your vision. And the reaction was that's not our responsibility to cut back. So there's also an issue with land ownership, or an understanding with land ownership, because Surrey County Council are saying we don't do gorse. We'll do the little bit of bracken with our strimmer, but we're not going to do anything else. Now I know we can all complain and make noises, but I think it would be useful if the Parish Council said, we understand, could you explain to us why that's not all what we should be doing? Because I asked that question and I just got blanked. So it might be useful to have the parish clerk saying, we understand that this is an issue, you're not cutting back the gorse, what is it? Because I know that when we had the issue with signs with David Turner and Matt Ferdinand on the site, the issue of approaching the junction opposite our house with the laurel hedge on the left, Matt was saying, well, that needs cutting back. We will do it and contracharge the landowner if they won't do it, so we can send out notices. But when I sort of said, can you get anything to do it, I just absolutely got blanked. So I think it might, I know the voice of parishioners is supposed to be weight, but I think it might need something more, because I've tried using the system. I appreciate it's not within your remit in terms of it, but I think we might need a bit of leverage to understand the issue, and to also understand, and I appreciate it's money and I understand money is tight on all levels. But David is right, there's going to be an accident, and my fear is actually not that it's going to be somebody taken out. It's when there's that accident sitting there in the middle of the road, people don't behave nicely. I've been out there sweeping out glass, making cups of tea, handing out bits of paper, putting my standard traffic cone out. And people, and even the cyclists, drive really badly in an accident state, and I think we could have a fallout. I know that's nothing that this council can do, but I think because of the configuration of the junction, that's not being understood by highways, that it's not just the junction itself, it's when you have an accident, the number of near misses you have around an accident. At some point there's going to be a pile-up. There really is. And none of us want to see that. Every time I hear the crash outside my house, I am terrified about what I'm going to find. Because I go out there, and I'm terrified I'm going to find a dead body soon. And Judith, the noise with yours, I was convinced that I was convinced that was going to be a dead person.
Me too.
And our other problem is that, there are too many accidents. But every day there is a squeal of brakes with someone leaning on their horn. And I think really what would be really helpful is if anyone can put on the WhatsApp either a minor collision, because sometimes it's just wing mirror to wing mirror and the drivers shake hands and go off. Or it's a squeal of brakes and a hair's breadth away from an accident. We can try and keep a log of this, because one of the daft excuses to which David was referring was that I believe, David, correct me if I'm wrong, that the council said, oh, it's not a problem because there aren't that many incidents, because their definition of incident was an incident to which the emergency services were called.
There's been 4 in the last month.
I mean, there have been 4 emergency services attendances in.
To be honest, we have very similar in Badshot League, because I tried to campaign when my son was at Badshot League Village Infant School. I tried to campaign for us to have a pedestrian crossing there, and the council came up with excuse after excuse as to why we couldn't. And whilst we had so many near misses, they did not care that we nearly had a child run over. We did not care that there was a car drove into another car to avoid a child and all these sorts of things. They were quite happy for small children to cross a road when it is green for at least one direction. they were not bothered about it. And they even tried to fob me off by saying that there was not enough waiting room there to put in a traffic light safely because people would not be able to get past someone waiting. And I had to measure the the pavement, and say, well, it's exactly the same width as you've got in the Borough Farm, and yet you've got traffic lights there. Funnily enough, when we got the new housing estates built in Bashottley and money was given to the community, suddenly there was money for us to finally have those traffic lights that put in a safety issue. And I think you'll just find that that's pretty similar to Littleworth Cross. Is unless there is a huge fatality and they can't turn away from it, or unless somebody comes up with the money, you'll be told it's the hedging, you'll be told it's the daylight, you'll be told it's B road or whatever, because quite frankly they don't want to have to pay for that and maintain it, is the thing. But that's just my opinion from experience.
One of the people who drove a car into another car was heard saying that, but Google told me to go straight on. Well, the map, sat nav, that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering whether one could actually get in touch with the organisers and see whether they can put something on that crossroad, because she drove straight across from from Elstead Road to Seal Lane. Did not even consider that there was a proper crossroad.
I've logged it with Google.
What?
I've logged it with Google.
Have you?
Then you've got to do Waze. There's so many different standards. RAC,
Yeah, I wouldn't know
maps.
wouldn't know what to do on that front. No.
Google, you can actually go click on your map if you're in Google's map, report an error with the map, and it gives you the option of identifying where the priority should be.
I know that Matt said before that you can only have speed bumps when there are when there are street lights. But in Thursley, when you come off the A3 and you go through the village, they have speed bumps without street lights. So I'm just wondering whether this is an initiative they did themselves, Thursley? But
They didn't.
no?
No.
How did they get it then?
I don't know how else, but they didn't. It's a lot of money though. It's a lot of money.
It has to be approved by highways.
Yeah. It's a huge amount.
Well, not just a stop sign. Stop sign can't be done, right? Just put a stop sign up.
I can't
Suppose
I'd be more than happy to contribute to get a stop
We
sign.
can make our own stop signs and put them up.
That's true.
It's better than
If it's a question of money and funding, then I'm sure we can all go together just to save somebody's life.
I mean, one thing that I always find...
Oh, Anna, sorry.
Sorry, Rosemary.
What I take, I mean, okay, yes, I think it should be a stop and it should be a stop sign there. And yes, putting those things up is something that we'd all fund towards.
Yeah.
But what I see is the problem, it's actually the traffic calming side of it. There needs to be something that makes the cars have to stop in some way, whether there's a narrowing of the road or whether there's something, there has to be something that just stops, slows them, because even if we put a sign further back, are they going to see that if they're not seeing the one at the junction? You know, it's more of a traffic calming situation, I think. I don't know how to do it, but...
Is it?
I think rumble strips might be an option.
Rumble strips?
Yeah.
That actually, when your car hits it, the tyres make a noise, so you don't have come down Littleworth Road and coming up to the junctions as well. So the cars coming from both directions are aware that there's a junction coming.
Yeah, that would annoy the residents.
Well, if there's nobody there, they'll be happy. Is there any way that we can ask Matt to bring a highways engineer to a parish council meeting? So we could discuss it and bring our concerns. So I know there's nothing you can do, and you've been really good sitting and listening to us all whinge about it.
well, we want to do something
I
as
know,
well.
but I'm just thinking, would that be
it's-
something, if you could say to Matt, could
Apart
you bring
from
a highways
petitioning
engineer?
him, yeah, I'm not sure getting a highways engineer out to a meeting will necessarily help. Getting a highways engineer out when there's an accident just happened will probably be better.
Or just to explain what, I was thinking more about explaining what the options, so people are saying, well, you know, could we crowdfund a stop sign? Could we crowdfund some rumble strips? Is there something we could
We
do?
need a highways.
We need an engineer to say, well, at this junction, these are what your options could be.
And what we legally have to do as well.
And what we legally have to do. And I think everyone's got ideas because we want it to be better, but Matt's not an engineer, with all respect to him. He was obviously, writes the checks, but he's not an engineer. And I think it'd be really useful if we could have an engineer, or if we could ask Matt to arrange a meeting with an engineer on site that the Parish Council attend, and I can attend with David because we've met with Matt before on this site, and Judith, so that we've got more of an understanding to report back about what our options are. Because at the moment it feels like we're just casting in the dark. Everyone's saying we need to do something, but we don't know what the thing is.
Yeah, we're not highways experts.
We don't know what the thing is that we need. So I think that's something the Parish Council could ask for on our behalf.
I think so. I think it's going to be on our agenda at the next meeting, and then we can discuss all these things and decide what we can do. But I think it's going to take a longish letter to spell out the issues. Your point about having a file of not only the major incidents, but obviously some of these near misses would obviously go a long way to help show just what's happening.
And I get the problem with the near misses. All we're really going to be able to say working at home is, at 9:08 I heard a screech of brakes. And
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether anyone will take much account of that, because by the time I've run down the garden, run outside, the car's going to have gone.
It's a point of record though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's your own personal point of record. So
I just don't know whether any weight would be attached to
well,
it.
no,
That was
you
all.
can bring it out in a meeting. If Matt's next to the crossroads or whenever he meets, you can show it to him and say, look, you can believe me or not, but this is reality. But just as a show of hands, how many people have actually written to Matt Furness?
How many people have what?
Written to Matt Furness about Littleworth Cross? So about, what, 20% of the people here, 30%? If the others
Yeah.
will write as well, because there's got to be some kind of algorithm or somebody will notice that this is going to go up. And I think that's the reality, the only reason they're going to really get serious about it.
And log it on the website. There's a sorry, I can send the link, or maybe we could put an article in the parish news saying where to report things, and the email addresses to report things into.
Yeah.
Okay. Mick, you wanted to...
I was just saying that Littleworth Cross is better signed up, including the road signage and the different coloured tarmac, than any other junction in this area.
Correct.
Right?
Has
So what are you going to do? It's not down just to the signage, it's down to rubbish drivers. People are just not concentrating, and you can't legislate for that, and you can't put up signs to stop that. If people are being total nits behind the wheel, you're stuck.
A few bumps
And
would
it's a
stop
rat
it.
run. It's always been a rat run, ever since I was that big. It's always been a rat run, and it's worse now than it's ever been. So I don't quite know what the answer is.
That's why we need an engineer.
No, thank you, Mick.
Maybe
Okay.
we could ask for a survey there. There's a couple of life schools to realise who's minority. And
Is that, well, let's talk about that. Let's bring it up in the meeting and put that in the meeting and put it on. Right, okay then. So if we have a change of direction, has anyone else, would they like to say anything else on any other subject? Or David?
I'd like to say thank you very much to our parish clerk and to all our parish councillors who do a huge amount of work on our behalf, often unappreciated, often second guessed in everything they do. But I would like to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Okay. Well, if nobody else would like to say anything, then we shall call the meeting closed. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.